Jen.
Hey, thanks for the shirt.
You're welcome.
It's a great birthday, and we haven't played cards in a long time.
In a long time, so maybe we'll get to play cards more.
How do you like that?
It's a bear.
It's a bear.
And
Am I the bear?
The California bear is something that we've always related to. And the bear energy of the younger Henry was very strong. I know you want to share a little more about the attitude, about how you come to your life, and especially and particularly dealing with this disease. So what would you like to share as your number one most important thing?
The most important thing with this disease is that at the point in your life where you're diagnosed, you have an elephant move into your bedroom. And there's nowhere you can go without that elephant being there. It's a major, major impact on your disease. It had 4 stages for me, but I learned early on, and sort of like what you'll say for our life together, that I'm a person who wants to have control of my life. Mm-hmm. Either you know, if I know what I want, either you get with the program and give it to me or get out of my way.
That's a fact.
So I have the same thing towards the disease. As a person, you have a choice. Either what you do is let the disease control your quality of life, or you say, I'm only going to let the disease go as far as it has to, no more. And so I think successfully coping with myeloproliferative disorder is a matter of attitude. It's also important for you to become an authoritative patient. Yeah. And that authoritative patient is somebody who can actualize himself. He can actually come in and relate to the medical profession, because what you are, and I've been told by the physicians that it's the role you play, you're the team leader. You give them the information, you give them the body, you give them the disease, they give you the information. Together as a team, you make a plan, and then it's up to you to go out and execute that plan and make sure that it happens, make sure that you do the things that you're supposed to. So it requires the discipline. The disciplined one in the team has to be you. And what you do when you're going through and selecting a doctor is find somebody you can talk to. Somebody who knows how you go ahead and want to do things.
Finding a doctor who you feel comfortable with along the way. Doctors have so much information, and as we know, the information's changing all the time as medical technology changes.
Well, in this particular disease for me, as I looked in the last video, 15 years ago, what's happening with me right now and where I am, it wasn't even known. They didn't even know about JAK2 or an inhibitor or anything else, and this was a wasting disease. I don't want to go in and have the standard treatment because, look, I'm feeling pretty miserable. 9.2 is my hemoglobin, and the doc says, I can't do anything for you until you hit 8. Well, at 8, I'd be a complete zombie. He gave me the clue, and it was up to me to go find the new program, and I'm happy because I found a wonderful medical team, I found wonderful drugs, and I'm able to accomplish things now. So being an authoritative patient is absolutely critical. Not only do you have to change your mind about whether the disease is going to run you or you're going to run the disease, you have to decide that if you decide you're going to live a good quality of life, then what you have to do is actualize that. And you have to go in and you have to do your study, you have to understand what's going on, you have to be able to talk to a physician the way the physician can understand you, and you have to make sure that before you leave an interview or treatment session with a doctor, that you really understand what they're telling you and that you're both in agreement as to what the plan's going to be for drug treatment, for keeping records, for everything, and that you're going to follow the plan that you and the doctor agreed to. That is absolutely critical.
And so as a man with a plan and a planning nature, you know, that's right. Your nature, to orient your life in this way, And at the same time, when dealing with a disease, when you notice along the way that you don't have that access and the sharpness in your faculties.
Hey, when it was really down there, I was really bad.
How did you feel about that along the way and that shift in terms of your persona?
What was the question?
Humor. The other important part, always keeping the good humor. Right?
Okay.
That's right. I love the word you said, fubby-headed. When you became so fubby-headed that here you were just talking about being this controlling person who's able to manage and be authoritative, and yet when symptoms are in bloom, Dad.
Yeah.
Then that persona is not who you who you identify with, and so coping as a different person along the way. How do you address that, and how have you found that shift through these different aspects?
Well, this goes to my third rule that I figured out.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, the third rule is, and I didn't do this, but because of my nature, I did it anyway. But the third rule was, as soon as you're diagnosed, sit down and make a life plan. Figure out where you are and where you want to go with the rest of the number of years that are there for you. And also, as part of that, do a bucket list. Figure out what are those most important things you want to do before you leave this planet. Because at the first part of the disease, when I had too much blood and they were killing cells off and I was trying to keep from blowing up, I had energy to burn. Well, luckily, I did the things that I wanted to do. But then when I ran into the burnout and I didn't have energy, I ran into a problem because there was something I wanted to accomplish. Because of the doctor's treatment and because of the drugs and everything else, I was able to do that. And you remember the bash, right?
That was phenomenal.
Right.
That was such an important affirmation of all the work that you've done and all the love in the community, with the family, with your calling to nature and service. It was really, really tremendous. And I know that it was so especially important to you to have Mick Hager there at the Natural History Museum just affirm your tenacity. So that's, again, the attitude with the shift of what is available in your physiology and adaptive technologies, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I want to share with other people.
Right.
This is my story, but you don't have to do it my way. In fact, the one thing about this disease that's absolutely amazing is that doctors cannot predict the disease. It's so idiosyncratic. It's so unique to you. You will process it your own way. There's some general guidelines. Yeah. Okay, so you have too much blood, then you have to get that down so you don't blow up, then you have not enough blood. And when you don't have enough blood, then you got to get something in you to give you energy. That's the whole story. It's a two-stage disease. How you cope with that is a matter of your personality and your decision. You may have decided right on, I'm not going to fight this disease. I'm just going to let it do its course. I'm going to do what the medical perception will do. I'll do what the HMOs do. Fine. But I made the decision, I want a quality of life. And if you want a quality of life with this disease, then you got to get up off your ass and you got to get out there and you've got to make things happen. Because if you don't, there are going to be periods of time when you don't have the energy, when you don't have the stamina, when you don't have the willpower, and when you're down. Depression is always right around the corner. And what you try and do is keep yourself as positive as possible.
Yes. Absolutely. And that's something that I know that all throughout life, is a great, wonderful gift of yours and your outlook, and so many people have seen that, and that's the neat thing. It's like the star, here with the bear. It's that spirit that keeps on, and you shine it up in each other, So having the team of people around you, not everyone has the kind of resources in terms of family and close love that you have with your wife especially, and with us, the extended family here, and people will find that, and that's important, and to recognize, as people do learn through families, that people have different personalities and also the physiology, and that you pitch in, and you are as compassionate as you can be about the other person is very critical as well.
Will you remember the 3 questions, daughter?
The 3 questions.
If I am not for myself, who will be for me?
If I am for myself alone,
who am I? And if not now,
when?
This has been a guiding principle for the Shankman tribe for a long time. And we live it. So what are some of the things, if I'm not for myself, that says, okay, I need to take care of myself, be responsible for who I am, I need to be the authoritative patient, I need to get the best information I have, make my decisions, live with them, and learn from my mistakes. If I'm for myself alone, what am I? And there's probably one of the most appropriate aphorisms I've ever heard. Love is much better than hate. You don't have time, when you've got this disease, to sweat the small stuff and be angry. Anger is a wasted emotion. It's one of the things that will probably get you and probably give you a little disconcerting feelings is money. This is not cheap. Actually, you know what? I have been so lucky. I've got lucky to have you. I was lucky to have your mother. I was lucky to have 2 other wives behind her who were just as wonderful. I have a great family, and all these other things happened to me in my life. I was born at the right time to where all you had to do was be able to chew gum and walk at the same time to get a good job, to get a good retirement.
Well, I think that tenacity factor and that good attitude, when you showed up year after year after year after year after year, and paying into a system, I think what you're saying as far as the socioeconomic shifts for many people at this time and looking at medical bills, for you, it's wonderful, and you have this luck, and the fact that you were able to be in this study. I know when I was massaging your feet just the other day, and you were talking about what the fiscal impact would be on those resources if you were not in the study and had the insurance company not agreed to this level, why you're advocating for people to have the quality of life and taking the time and the resources of your energy to make these videos.
If I had to pay out of pocket for what I'm getting and to be able to live this quality of life, it would cost me about $15,000 a month, or close to $175,000 a year, just to live and do what I'm doing. I'm very lucky to have had a physician in Dr. Catriona Jameson, who is not only a top researcher, but a heck of a physician and a fine person. And what she's done for me and what she's doing for the people who suffer from these diseases is trying to also show the insurance company, show the Congress, show everybody else that quality of life is an important element. And now there's the capacity through the new drugs and the way they have control to make a quality of life possible. The differential between what I would have to do under the normal system that my insurance company would do and what I'm getting under the specialized treatment because I'm a guinea pig is phenomenal. And this was as a result of doing my research, but also running into fabulous people. But they're not only the fabulous people. As you talk about Jean, oh my God, I love that woman.